First with breaking news. First with new information. Plus, your first alert forecast. 19 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
I need you to understand there are no words strong enough to explain what it feels like to lose a child to someone I welcomed into my home, who slept in my home and ate with my children. Your Honor, he deserves no second chances at life on these streets.
A mother's raw emotion begging for justice in the murder of her son.
One of the men found guilty, finding out his sentence today. Thanks for joining us on 19 News First at 4. I'm Brian Duffy.
And I'm Nicole Versansky. The suspects in the case accused of chasing that young man all over the city of Paynesville until they cornered him in his car and opened fire.
Our Harry Boomer is live. And Harry, you were inside an emotional courtroom today when the judge issued the sentence.
That's right. I've seen and covered many murder trials and killings, and this is one of the toughest I've had to cover. The judge in this case of the shooting here of a 20-year-old man cornered and ambushed, as you said, it said that they turned downtown Paynesville into the wild, wild west. He handed down a very stiff sentence to make sure that one of those convicted will never walk the streets again. Let's go to some video here. Today, Xavier Jackson was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole of 71 years. He was found guilty on 19 charges, including aggravated murder, kidnapping, and felonious assault for the fatal shooting of 20-year-old William Sheffy Jr. Jackson was among several people convicted in the downtown murder of Sheffy last summer. Some of the others found guilty were sentenced to from 70 years to life for their roles in the murder. And this is Tiffany Phillips, Sheffy's grieving mother.
I stand here with a pain that no mother should ever have to carry. I am here because my son's life was taken from everyone who loved him and anyone he came across. I need you to understand there are no words strong enough to explain what it feels like to lose a child to someone I welcomed into my home, who slept in my home and ate with my children. Psalm 41:9 says, even my close friend, someone I trusted, one who shared my bread, has turned against me. That man grew up with my son Elijah and even considered him one of his best friends at one point of time. I treated him like one of my own children, which makes this pain so unbearable.
Again, Xavier Jackson was sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 71 years. One lost life, others destroyed, a circle of family and friends forever broken because of a senseless act of ambush murder. Xavier Jackson will spend that time in the Lorain Correctional Institution. In Paynesville, I'm Harry Boomer, 19 News.
Okay, Harry. Well, two people pleading not guilty to an attack on a 10-month-old baby. That child still fighting for his life in the hospital. Raymond Lucero and his sister Ava Thompson are accused of causing serious brain injuries to Malachi Harris. Baby has already had 2 major surgeries, including one that was needed to put his skull back together. What makes this even more heartbreaking is that investigators say no one ever bothered to call 911. Thompson is engaged to Malachi's father. Lucero is her brother.
An Eastlake man convicted of sexually assaulting several teenage girls has been sentenced to 19 and a half years in prison. Trey Von Hopkins pleaded guilty to several charges. This case started last year when a 15-year-old girl told staff at a juvenile detention center she'd had sexual contact with Hopkins and that he threatened to traffic her for $5,000. Investigators say he did the same thing with several other minors and supplied them with drugs.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast, certified most accurate since 2004.
All right, we're taking a live look from Edgewater Beach this afternoon. Absolutely beautiful conditions. You see all that sunshine, the deeper blue sky that is coming back into play as that humidity starts to drop a little bit more. But you'll also notice a few more whitecaps there out on the lake. That is all courtesy of this wind coming in now out of the north to northwest. And now this has pretty much taken over the entire region. Earlier, we had more of a westerly wind across our southern counties. Not so much the case as that boundary continues to push farther south and really open up the door to a very pleasant evening. We do have a couple showers out there at this point. I do not think that they're necessarily going to hold for all of your evening plans for your Thursday, so should be able to get outside and enjoy some of this cooler weather. We're going to stay this way as we head into tomorrow before we gradually see these things changing a little bit in our pattern as we slowly enter into the early part of this next week. So definitely keep that in mind. This nice fall-like air not here to last, at least for now. We'll talk more about this change in the pattern coming up here in the next half hour.
Well, it is a wrap for the preseason tonight for the Browns, and the game against the Patriots tonight is one for the guys who are just trying to win a job on this roster.
And it's also about quarterbacks, too. The Browns have 4 on the roster. Ashley Holder live at Huntington Bank Field with more on what we can expect to see tonight. Ashley.
Hey guys, listen, all the talk recently has been all about the quarterbacks, and it's really all about Deshaun Watson and Shedeur Sanders, but there's a diamond in the rough, and it could be rookie quarterback Taylen Green. He has the size, the athleticism, and his potential is through the roof. A lot of people are already talking about this guy being able to compete for the quarterback starting position next year, but again, that is a ways away. Right now, Taylen is just preparing for his first NFL game, and head coach Todd Monken wants him to take it all in.
Man, isn't this cool? I mean, isn't it everything you dreamed about that the majority of us don't get to do, to put the helmet on? Forget that you didn't practice, right? And you're a Cleveland Brown, but heck, you got drafted, right? So you got your name called, and this is just that next step, right? Like, it just is really cool. Like the whole thing with Luke, right? With the touchdown. I asked him the other day at practice, I'm like, did you get the ball at least? Did you at least keep it? He's like, no, I forgot. But Tylan Wallace got it for me. So Tylan was cool enough to go and get it from the official and give it to him. And you forget those really cool stories or moments that only very few people get to live. As much as I've, and most of us have dedicated our lives to this sport, to be able to play, an NFL game is really freaking cool.
Why he wasn't taken in the first round, but hey.
And no starters will suit up tonight, and that includes Shedeur Sanders. So it is only going to be Dillon Gabriel and Taylen Green on the field tonight. As far as the quarterbacks go, they will be battling it out for that quarterback third position. Mark Schwab will have more coming up at 5 p.m. For now, at Huntington Bank Field, Ashley Holder, 19 News.
Now your 19 First Alert traffic update.
All right, a quick traffic check on this Thursday afternoon. Good news is no major incidents to report. So if you are headed to downtown Cleveland to get ready for the Browns game, maybe doing some tailgating, we are good to go. Here's some drive times for you. This is going to be inbound to downtown Cleveland. So 71 Strongsville to Cleveland takes you about 16 minutes. 90 eastbound from Columbia Road in Westlake to Cleveland will take you about 10 minutes. And 77 northbound from 480 to Cleveland will take you about 7 minutes. These are all in the green, so normal travel speeds, normal travel times. But if you are downtown and are headed outbound, we're looking good. Whether you're going to eastward on 90 to the Euclid Spur, that's 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes from downtown Cleveland to Columbia Road on the west side. And finally, 77 southbound from Cleveland to Akron is about 36 minutes there. So good to say, no major incidents to report right now, but I'll have another check coming up here in the next 20 to 30 minutes.
All right, well, the Cleveland Clinic telling us that they are seeing an uptick in the amount of people who are getting sick now from eating wild mushrooms, and they're putting out a warning. 19
Data journalist Dan DeRosa is here with just how many people have gotten sick, and this has been relatively just over the past 10, 12 days or so.
Yeah, a little dangerous here because of how quickly you can get sick and the amount of damage. It has been incredibly wet the last couple of weeks. My yard has them. Your yard probably has them. The mushrooms are popping up all over the place. The Cleveland Clinic is sounding the alarm because these numbers are not small. Just in the last 10 to 12 days, as we've been talking about, 13 people have been sick. This is just within the Cleveland Clinic. So think about the other hospital systems we have in the past 10 to 12 days. When we start looking at the numbers, 8 people ate the same batch. Somebody went out in the yard, thought they could recognize, and they are very tough. There's even some apps that are out there that are supposedly good enough to spot the good mushrooms, the bad mushrooms. Yikes, enter at your own risk kind of thing. 8 people shared the same batch, all got sick. 5 people have had to been hospitalized. One of them has actually already had to have a liver transplant. That's how quickly the damage can be done to your body.
It can be few hours versus just few minutes. Can start with nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, abdominal pain, like very vague, where people might think, oh, it's probably a virus, and do not seek therapy for a long time. So that's why I think we need to talk and educate people that if you feel those symptoms, particularly after eating mushroom, they should seek medical attention right away.
Yeah. See these in your front yard, your backyard, you're out at one of the metro parks. Leave them alone. Stick to the stuff you can buy at the grocery store.
Well, more than 60 Americans are among more than 1,400 still missing after catastrophic flooding swept through Nepal and Tibet.
Yeah, the images, the video, just unbelievable.
Yeah.
Sadly, at least 390 people died. The search for survivors is really now a race against the clock.
We're also learning more about what exactly the circumstances are now behind the disaster. CBS's Tina Kraus has the latest.
This is the face of survival. An elderly woman in Nepal pulled from the mud after a wall of water and debris tore through the region. For many, there was no escaping it. This surveillance video capturing people scrambling to get away before a tidal wave slammed into buildings on the border with Chinese-controlled Tibet. Many Americans are believed to have been inside.
Oh, man.
Scientists say a section of glacier in Nepal's Himalayan mountains near the Tibet border broke away, plunging nearly 4,000 feet into the valley below. It barreled downstream, picking up rock, mud, and wreckage, with speeds experts say could have topped 100 miles per hour.
And anything in the way gets incorporated into it and shoved out the front, and they become very powerful.
Experts say it's too early to directly link the disaster to climate change, but note glaciers across the Himalayan region are melting faster, with ice loss rates doubling since 2000. Sabina Tamang says she spoke with her husband just before the disaster. He was buying chocolates for their children, but never made it home. She says, all I want is that my husband comes back to me safely in one piece. Rescuers are sending up drones and helicopters as they search for hundreds still missing, including dozens of Americans. It's believed they were making a pilgrimage to a holy Hindu site in Tibet. Tina Kraus, CBS News, London.
Well, more than 24 witnesses and hours of audio recordings, and now prosecutors have rested their case against the man on trial for killing Tupac Shakur.
The defense calling its first witness this afternoon, but the big question remains, will Duane Davis take the stand?
That's right. Victoria Saha continues our coverage in Vegas.
Good morning, everyone. We have heard from 25 witnesses so far, and before the state said that they rest their case, they played some jailhouse calls Davis made since his arrest. They also played some media interviews he gave promoting his book that he co-authored, which talked about Tupac's murder. It's the same book he told me he did not write.
They try to use my statements against me. You're going to lose, dude. I think I got blood on my money.
This is my book here. I would like you guys to buy it and get the real truth.
Right after the jury was dismissed, the judge read out instructions to Davis about what he should expect if he does choose to testify. And if he does, he will be subject to cross-examination, and prosecutors can ask him about that jailhouse fight he got into a few years ago. Here's what Davis had to say about it.
We checked the 2015 conviction. It ran on August 11th of 2026. So the only conviction that he would be facing cross-examination for is his conviction a couple of years ago for battery by a prisoner.
Is that why they sent him to attack me?
After court, defense attorney Michael Sam said that Suge Knight, who is the only other living witness and was in that car with Tupac, refused to speak with him. And he also talked about how Davis has been feeling throughout this trial.
He's declined interviews with me. He did have an interview with the state. He did sit down with them and talk with them for 2.5 hours. But when the defense came along and said, hey, we'd like to sit down with you and find out from you some more information, he told me to go pound sand. I think he's in good spirits. He's been paying attention, and every once in a while he'll have a note or two, something that he's observed. So I think he's been doing the right thing here.
Again, that was Victoria Saha reporting. Right now, the defense is calling its first witnesses, including a retired gang detective who the defense claims will challenge the prosecution's timeline and evidence. We're still waiting to see if Davis himself, again, will take the stand.
Well, this hurricane's season's quiet stretch is over now that Tropical Storm Dolly has formed in the Atlantic. Meteorologists expect Dolly to run into an El Nino-fueled wind shear and pretty much dissipate Saturday. They do say remnants could bring some much-needed rain to Puerto Rico. The storm's name, just a coincidence and not an ode to Dolly Parton. All right, taking a look at our top 4 stories at 4. New information, Wednesday's attack on a sheriff's deputy in Sandusky County. Police were trying to remove Scott Dobb from trespassing at a bank when they say he stabbed a female deputy in the neck. Dodd took off into the woods. It took several hours to find him. We're told that the deputy is doing better now after surgery.
A Lake County man facing dozens of child pornography charges. A grand jury indicted Stephen Hillebright on 32 counts, including having and distributing naked images of kids. Investigators say he used a hidden camera to record a child in a bathroom. Hillebright has pleaded not guilty.
President Trump approving a plan to lower the price of beef. Now, this plan shuts down for now tariffs on imported meat. The administration did not share which countries the beef will come from. Ranchers, lawmakers, and some cattle association all oppose putting an end for now to the tariffs.
The president also signing an executive order renaming Lake Ontario to the Lake of America. Lake Ontario is a shared international waterway as managed jointly by the United States and Canada. The announcement comes during the contentious trade war between the two countries.
Well, deliberations are now underway in the murder trial of a Massachusetts mom who's been accused of killing her 3 young children.
Several jurors were seen crying as attorneys delivered closing arguments. The trial has put a national spotlight on maternal mental health, which was the key point for both sides.
Bradley Blackburn of CBS News has the story.
In his closing argument, defense attorney Kevin Reddington derided the mental health care that Lindsay Clancy received in the months before she killed her 3 children in January of 2023.
How does this turn into this? How? Because of the damn medicine and the lousy medical care that she got.
Reddington listed many of the medications Clancy had been prescribed by different doctors.
Diazepam, Creatapam, it goes on and on and on and on and on.
He also mocked some of the evidence the prosecution presented.
Oh, smoking gun. Good moms have scary thoughts. We're going to put this in a plastic bag. We're going to show it to a jury so they know that this young lady had scary thoughts.
Clancy has not denied she killed her children. Instead, her defense claims she was suffering from postpartum psychosis and a voice compelled her to act. Prosecutor Jennifer Sprague countered in her own closing argument.
You know that she knew the difference between right and wrong during that time because she had those thoughts at the beginning of December of harming her kids. And she told Patrick and her mother about them.
On the day of the killing, Sprague said Clancy sent her husband on extra errands to give her more time to carry out her crimes.
She left them discarded on the basement floor like broken toys because she was done playing the game.
Jurors have several options for a verdict: first-degree murder, second-degree murder, manslaughter, not guilty, and not guilty by lack of criminal responsibility. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News.
Now your 19 First Alert forecast. Certified most accurate since 2004.
All right, taking a look at First Alert Doppler, we've been monitoring some showers across the area. Most of this activity now well off to our east. We've got a couple stray showers, and you really have to dig deep on First Alert Doppler to even find where those little blips of rain are popping up. You got southern Stark County, one decaying shower there, and one that has tried to hold together as best as it can across parts of Tuscarawas County. Outside of that, it has been a very quiet afternoon, and I expect that the rest of it will remain that way as we eventually transition into the early evening hours. Few clouds, but predominantly sunshine. That's what's taking over across our area. You see that stronger northwest wind, at least initially. That is because of that front passing through so quickly as it's kind of been making its way across our area today. But once it continues to clear and once that sun starts to set, your wind is going to turn much more calm as we head into the rest of tonight. And it's virtually going to evaporate a better rain chance for us. The exception will be once that temperature cools off more so into the lower 60s during the overnight. That could spark a couple showers. The whole reason for that is your air temperature difference compared to the lake temperature. When you get those bigger temperature swings, sometimes you can get a couple of these lake enhanced showers drifting through, and I think that at best is going to be your rain chance through the day on Friday. You'll notice most of us will stay quiet. Not much of a rain chance materializes for us because of how much that muggy meter is going to be dropping, really allowing us to feel quite comfortable as we head into basically the end of tomorrow and the start of the weekend. So any Friday night football games look fantastic. Temperatures that kick off into the lower 70s, but you'll spend most of the game sitting mid to upper 60s. We'll walk you through what you can expect for the weekend and beyond coming up here in just a few minutes.
This is a 19 First Alert breaking traffic alert.
All right, this is your first alert to drivers in Summit County. I'm going to take you down to the Akron area right now. This is I-277 eastbound. Originally, or just a few minutes ago, the entire road was closed, but now we're still seeing the right lane blocked just as you get to the interchange with 77 here. So again, this is eastbound 277 in Akron. Right before you get to the 77 interchange, the right lane is blocked, but this is causing a massive backup with a 20-minute delay back to Manchester Road. So you are going to need to plan some extra time if you are in this area of Summit County, as there is that crash. At least the road is open now, but we're starting to see, again, this type of backup here. This is at Lay Drive, and you can see all the cars here. At least they're moving now, and the road's not closed, but that's going to be causing a 20-minute delay. Also, just want to mention, also in Summit County, this is 77 southbound. There's a crash just blocking the right shoulder, so no lanes blocked. However, there is some slow traffic as you get before 271 there, so just make sure you're being safe and moving over or slowing down as necessary for any emergency vehicles. We'll have another update coming up here and check on these two incidents in the next few minutes.
The medical industry is vital for Northeast Ohio, and now a local school district is helping students get a head start on their careers before they even get their high school diploma. 19 News reporter Catherine Huntley shows us how.
Every day, pre-nursing high school students are learning vital lessons about taking care of people.
I do want to go to college after this, so I feel like I already am getting kind of ahead of other students to be more prepared for my future.
Elena Novkovich is one of the pre-nursing high schoolers in the Northern Career Institute in Eastlake, which is part of Willoughby Eastlake Schools. The program has two tracks, one junior and senior year program for nursing assistants, which is the first step into the nursing workforce. The other two-year track is to become a licensed practical nurse, or LPN, a step between assistant and registered nurse. Each program can graduate 24 students each year. Most have a goal of becoming registered nurses.
The access these pre-nursing students have is rare. This is just one of 4 high school LPN programs in the state of Ohio.
I'm really enjoying it. I've never had a class like this.
Our job here is to create a faster pathway into the healthcare field.
Danielle Blood is one of the pre-nursing instructors. She says the two-year programs are crucial to help address the major nursing shortage. The programs are free for the high schoolers.
We have a student population that wants to work. And that is something with the healthcare shortage is you have current employees, again, with that burnout rate that dread going to work, where our students cannot wait to get their license so they can start working and making a difference.
Blood says they have been able to achieve a 100% pass rate on nursing licensure exams. That lets them work in the healthcare field right away.
The look on their faces when they get that first job is just pure success. They are so proud of themselves for being able to achieve something so early on in their life, and that is the best blessing that you can have as an instructor.
In Eastlake, Catherine Huntley, 19 News.